Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and this is episode 16 of On the Tube, and this is my weekly show where I talk about everything that I've been watching on TV, as most things are streaming now, but, it's fun. And one of the shows I'm going to be talking about is a show that I've been watching with my girlfriend, and it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And we started binge watching this probably like a little over a month ago. And over the past week, we watched quite a bit of it because we finished up season 3 and season 4 of the show. And I absolutely love this show. Everybody has great comedic timing, from Andy Samberg all the way through the whole entire cast. The cast of characters in this show is so fantastic because everybody has their moments. Everybody has their character that they play, from Jake Peralta to Amy Santiago, whose relationship over these 2 seasons was much closer, and they've been dating and getting closer to getting married, and the 2 of them are great. I absolutely love them together. They have great chemistry, and they really play off of each other's characters really well in terms of him being immature and all over the place, and her being super, super anal about everything. Rosa Diaz is fantastic. Over the course of these seasons, you get a little bit deeper look into her personal life. She starts dating this crazy cop who was undercover for so long that he just kind of unhinged, and their just crazy raw energy together is fantastic. You get to see some nerdier sides and some more raw sides of Terry Crews's character Terry. And Boyle, you get to see him become a papa, and he's just so crazy. But my favorite is Captain Holt keeps getting more and more out of his shell, and just the deadpan performance and the intensity of his character makes me laugh every time. And even like Hitchcock and Sully have their moments peppered throughout, and then Gina is just fantastic. But I also really appreciate how these past 2 seasons had a lot of weight to the stories, and some intense things happened towards the end of each of those seasons, and including some of the characters getting set up and potentially going to jail, and really getting involved in having to go into hiding. And I like how the show progresses and has those big story arcs, still has that procedural vibe, and is still really funny. So I keep looking forward to continuing watching it. We're actually halfway through season 5 already, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about that next week. I watched the first season of a bit of Fry and Laurie, and Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry are so deadpan, so fantastic together. And like, Stephen Fry has that held together energy, and Hugh Laurie is really like the fast moving, like high energy one in this situation, and they play off of each other really well. And it's really funny, some of the different gags. I think the one that really stuck with me was at the beginning of one of the episodes in the first season. They talked about how they're going to be wearing the wrong pants through each skit, and you're expected to figure out which character is supposed to be wearing which kind of pants. And I'm just like, stuff like that's just so silly, and just setting that up at the beginning of an episode. And like the last episode of the first season, this guy keeps yelling at them that they stole all of his jokes, and that running gag. The different characters are a lot of fun. I enjoy the skits, and they also have some of those meta jokes going on as well that give their sketch comedy a little bit more of an oomph, because it's like, it's been done. There's a lot of sketch comedies, and obviously I feel like they were going to be catching a lot of comparisons to Monty Python, but I really enjoyed it. I also watched the first season of Blackadder, and Blackadder is this lampooning of particular times in history in the first seasons, like this medieval times. And Rowan Atkinson is so fantastic. He's hilarious. He's such a king of comedic characters, but also physical comedy, and just how he uses his looks and stares and everything for great laughs. And obviously most people know him as Mr. Bean, but like he creates this really funny world in this, and Brian Blessed is big and boisterous and really adds a whole lot to some of the scenes, and it deals with so many different kinds of things, like succession in a kingdom, and battles, and war, and the Black Death, the plague, and all these different kinds of things. And I've heard it, especially, I heard the last season is the best, where it deals with World War One, but I'll be getting there. But I really enjoyed this. It's a fun lampooning of history, and I think it's worth checking out. It's on Hulu. I also watched the first season of Broadchurch, and Broadchurch, I don't know what I was expecting going into it. All I knew is David Tennant and Olivia Colman's in it, and it's to the point where sometimes you need subtitles for David Tennant. But this is a dramatic, powerful, and intense mystery about this young boy who's found murdered. And Olivia Colman is this cop in the small town Broadchurch who really believes that she deserved this promotion. And this position actually went to an outsider played by David Tennant. And he has his baggage. He has something going on with him that causes some issues with the case and his job. And Olivia Colman has this personal connection to everything. And Jodie Whittaker plays the young boy's mother. And the three of them deliver really powerful performances in this show. It has an interesting look to it and how it's shot. It does seem very much like this looks like a TV show, but the way that it's put together and how the story is told and unfolds is very intense, and I really enjoyed sitting back and seeing this intense look at small town life and this story that this whole mystery of this case is going through. And I really enjoyed this a lot. It really hit hard for me, and I really look forward to watching the next two seasons. I'm interested to see if it continues as the same story or if each season is a new case, but it's shocking. The last episode's really powerful and shocking, and really comes to rupturous emotional impact. I watched the second season of Blackish, and damn, this was so relevant today, because the second season has the episode that really deals with riots over police killing a black man. And there's this one episode halfway through the season where the whole family, from the grandparents, pops, everybody, is watching and interacting, and you get to see how each of their characters would react to this situation. And it doesn't feel preachy. It feels organic and natural and meaningful. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from the second season watching it, because it felt so topical. And then there's also this episode where they're dealing with everybody getting sick and being super contagious. And oh my god, I'm like, this season's getting way too relevant for today. And in general, this season was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the show a lot. Each character gets their moments to shine. And like, my favorite character by far is Pops, played by Lawrence Fishburne. He's, out of the whole family, he's in it the least, but I really enjoy the episodes that he's in. There's one particular episode where he gets jealous that the grandmother is dating a much younger man, so like he tries to put on the charm, and that got a lot of laughs out of me. Like, Tyra Banks pops up in this season as Dre's best friend, long-term friend, and they have a very interesting relationship. There's fun episodes where it's like they try to figure out who would take the kids if both the parents died, and that came up with a lot of fun gags and them interacting with different characters. But in general, this was a lot of fun, and I like how this show can take on really important topics as well, while still keeping that comedic bite to it. And I think Blackish is a really relevant show. And I like how, I guess there's a Juneteenth episode in the 4th season because they keep recommending the 4th season now on Hulu. I'll have to get there eventually. I watched the whole 1st season of Love, Victor when that came out, and I just burned through that very quickly. I loved it. And I noticed that there's a lot of characters that are trying to balance a lot of things in this show, and some of the characters feel a little forgotten at points. But this show, I love how it takes the idea of Love, Simon and really breaks it down and says, hey, not everybody's going to have a supportive family or is an easy external trouble coming out. And this young man trying to feel things out with a young woman, figuring out who he really is. I love the back and forth that he has with Simon from the movie, and I really like how that arc progresses because it comes up with like one of my favorite episodes of the season. Really comes to a head with that particular idea of him getting this advice from Simon. But there's a whole cast of great characters. I felt connected with them and seeing their arcs. And the last couple episodes, a lot happens. And it's like bam, 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 bam. And I really look forward to seeing where this show goes because this 1st season ended on such a poignant point. And I feel like this show is really capturing a lot of different tough aspects of growing up with a family. And it really looks at the relationship with their parents, how his sister is dealing with this move that they have to make. And as they've slowly pulled back the layers of the family and what's going on with them, I was really intrigued and really brought in by that. And then also the central struggle of this character. And the performances are great. Everybody really feels all in. And I love this show. I can't wait for Love, Victor to come out. Interesting choice of words. But I can't wait for the 2nd season to release. Obviously, it's going to be a little while, but I think it was disappointing that they didn't put this on Disney Plus because they could have really had a special thing for Disney Plus with the show. Obviously, it's all Disney, so it being on Hulu, they're going to get the attention anyway. But I really love Victor, so go check it out. And then last but not least, I wrapped up the docuseries Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, and I had a lot of fun with this documentary. As a Star Wars fan, I felt really connected to this. As a film fan, it was so cool to see behind the curtain, especially the visual effects aspects and how they created everything. There's an episode about the score. I really loved the director roundtable to start things off, the actor one. The drawbacks I saw with this, one particular episode, the 2nd episode, felt so just didn't really progress much at all about The Mandalorian, which I love how Dave Filoni gets into this long tangent about the Duel of Fates from Phantom Menace, which has nothing to do with The Mandalorian, but it was so interesting and insightful that the whole internet keeps writing articles about, oh, this is what the Duel of Fates is really about. And you just have all these title hook articles, and it's just like, you obviously just watched Disney Gallery and want to get hype off of what Dave Filoni was talking about. But it was really insightful. What did it have to do with The Mandalorian? That episode kind of fell out of place. And the one thing is, I really enjoyed these roundtables and hearing everybody's perspectives. I do have to say Jon Favreau, he's great, but he seems a little too rambunctious of a host. He talks over the other people at the table, and he's a little too about hosting, and it kind of takes away from some of it a little bit. If he just would have sat back and let the others kind of talk and say their piece without him having to jump in all the time, I think it would have been more effective. But in general, this was something really special. I liked how Disney Plus did this, and I think it would be cool to see some of these Disney galleries on some other projects. But that's episode 16 of On the Tube. Comment, let's talk about these TV shows, and have some fun. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.